When looking at Samsung OLED TVs, you want to look at the last four letters in the model code for the TV that you're looking at. In this case, we're looking at one that says FXZA, and this is an S90D 65-inch from last year in the US region. This is going to signal to us that this is a QD-OLED. And if you see EXZA, which is on 83, 42, 48, that signals that it is a W-OLED TV. Or at least that's what I thought. And here is where we get into a big mystery. And I think that's what we got on our hands here with this situation with Samsung. On top of this mystery, we also have some shenanigans with the S90F in other regions. It's definitely clear to me that some regions are getting the short end of the stick, especially the UK. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is KG. I review TVs and I also love talking about them. So if you enjoy TV technology, definitely consider subscribing to the channel after this video. All right, so understand this. When you're looking at the S85F this year, you will notice that the 55-inch and 65-inch have FXZA at the end of their model code, which would signal that they're QD-OLEDs. But everything that I know from the S85D and heard from the S85F told me, hey, this is a W-OLED. In all cases last year, the S85D was a W-OLED, and it had EXZA at the end of the model code for everyone in the States. And that's what it should be. So I have to say, this is odd because on Samsung's website, on Best Buy's website, on Amazon's website, any retailer you look up, the 55-inch and 65-inch say FXZA at the end, while the 77-inch model shows EXZA like you would think it would. So what is going on here? Is this a Samsung mistake? Have they just communicated things wrong to these retailers, including themselves? Or are we actually looking at a possibility that the 55-inch and 65-inch have QD-OLEDs? Well, that's where I'm going to need someone in the community's help. If you are buying this TV or if you have bought this TV and you're watching this video, please check it out with a magnifying glass, with a jeweler's loupe, or with your smartphone camera in macro mode. Check the pixel structure of the TV. You could easily see if it is QD-OLED or W-OLED by doing this. And of course, I'll be doing this myself once I get the TV. But right now I am unable to get the TV, and if I was able to get the TV, it would be really hard to fit into my review schedule because I have a lot of other TVs that are on the top of the list that take priority over this TV. But I will eventually get to this once we can. But that's why I need your help, because you could do this if you own the TV or if you're buying the TV or even if you're seeing the TV on display at Best Buy. I know some locations have said that they have this on display, but I haven't heard anybody report it just yet. So just keep an eye out for it. If you see it, throw up your smartphone camera in macro mode and try to get me a shot of those pixels and hit me up as soon as possible. You could either leave me a comment on YouTube or just tag me on X, because I do think this is crucial information and we need to find this out as soon as possible so we know, so that anybody out there that's looking at this TV can know exactly what they are buying. Because at the end of the day, we don't need another S90D situation where it's like, I don't know what I'm getting. Is it QD-OLED, W-OLED? At least with that, we knew. We knew because we figured out the model code situation. And yes, if you're buying 55-inch, 65-inch, 77-inch S90Ds in the States, you weren't affected by this. So it didn't really hit anybody in the States, but my friends overseas in different regions, they did get hit. And unfortunately, it left a lot of confusion for a lot of TV buyers. And it looks like with the S90F this year, which I'm going to talk about in just a second, you are getting the same sort of situation. But the point is, we had a code to look at. We knew what these letters meant for us. But if we buy something that's tagged FXZA and it ends up being W-OLED, man, that is just not good. That is not good for anybody. Also, don't forget to check the box or the back of the TV if you are buying the TV, because it will say exactly the model code on there. So if the model code is just communicated wrong on the website and it's actually correct on the back of the TV, that would be good information to know as well. So what do I think is going on? And do I think we're going to be getting a QD-OLED or a W-OLED? Well, to be honest, I think that it is going to be a W-OLED, and this is just a mistake. It wouldn't make sense for the S85F to be a QD-OLED, but I could be wrong, and that's why I'm making this video. Because it's important to communicate to Samsung, I don't think we should have to play these games with their panels. I don't think we should have to play detective. I know I make jokes about it and make memes about it, but it's not cool. Like, it's seriously not cool. We shouldn't have to do this as consumers. Just tell us what we're getting, Samsung. Just tell us what panel we're getting. Because you act like it's not a big deal, but it is. And it is going to result in different picture quality depending on what panel you get. I want higher color brightness. I want better uniformity. I want better brightness in general. That is what I'm getting from QD-OLED. And every time I use a regular W-OLED, no enhancements, not talking about Force Stack, not talking about MLA, I'm talking about like an LGC series, a Sony Bravia 8, which I do own and I use sometimes, or a 42-inch S90D, which is also W-OLED. Well, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, man, I really wish this was QD-OLED. Think about how much better it would be, brighter it would be, the color brightness would be better. And in the case of the Bravia 8 or an LG C4, I'm thinking, man, I could have got a QD-OLED for the same exact price. And if I wasn't a TV reviewer, I definitely would have done that. So yeah, it matters. And the fact that Samsung doesn't tell us what we're getting sucks. And we have to play these games. So I have to make these videos every year. And yes, this is my second year making this video, but it's a little bit different because we got a little mystery to it. And I'm trying to figure out if the code still holds. The next question you have is this issue going to affect me? And the chances are, if you are outside of the United States buying an S90F, the chances are actually very high. First, let me remind you that 42-inch, 48-inch, and 83-inch are going to be sizes that currently cannot be QD-OLEDs. There's not any QD-OLED panels in production that fit these sizes. So those are always going to be W-OLED, regardless of what region you're in. However, the 55-inch, 65-inch, and 77-inch, those can be QD-OLED. But it really depends on what region you're in. If you're in the United States, chances are the S90F is going to be a QD-OLED. That's how it was with the S90D. I don't expect that to change. In other regions, though, you are looking at a chance at a W-OLED depending on what size you get. Unfortunately, I don't know all the different size combinations for every country, so you'll just have to look at that letter combination, the code at the end of the model. If you see EX, that's a W-OLED. If you don't see EX, there's a good chance it's likely QD-OLED. And in the past, this has been the case. These are QD-OLEDs. Heading back to display specifications, you can see that there's different regions listed for the S90F here. And unfortunately, it looks like the UK isn't getting a QD-OLED S90F in any size, which really sucks. I didn't know that. And unfortunately for the UK people, they will have to go to an S95F, which is a beautiful TV, but it costs more. And it also does have a glare-free coating, which has some controversy of its own that I'll have to talk about in another video. So you can see the rest of the regions that are listed here. And like I said, I don't know all the codes, but I really do hope it helps you guys determine what S90F you're getting at the end of the day. And if you're confused at all by this, you'd definitely probably be overthinking it. The last four of the model code is the key. EX equals W-OLED. Now, if this model code doesn't mean anything anymore, I will make a follow-up video just letting you guys know that this method no longer works for determining what panel you're going to actually get. And I really hope that's not the case. I hope this is just an error by Samsung. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you care if it's a W-OLED or QD-OLED? And am I making too big of a deal out of this? Or do you think Samsung really just needs to tell us? And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. To see a comparison of W-OLED versus QD-OLED, check out this video right here. I think you're going to want to watch it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you in the next one.